think it's you.
But before I ask you the question, I want to tell people you're going to be at the Miami Book Fair.
I am.
November 12th, a conversation with our friend Eva Longoria. And we're planning a girls' weekend.
Good. Come meet us in Miami, everybody.
But, no, don't. But you grew up in the Bronx, and you describe a family life with your parents that was filled with a lot of love, but also secrecy.
So cute.
And you write about how you had a very hard time at night. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. Like I said, there's a lot of revelations in the book, and I talk about some tension in my parents' marriage, which has been a secret. I talk about, to some people, I talk about abuse that was happening in the home. I talk about a lot of the dynamics that made it complicated as a kid, and that really led to this feeling that, like, I guess I always thought that I could make everything in the home okay if I was better, if I was smarter, if I was more successful, if I was prettier, if I was thinner. So it led to this pressure to perform, which in some ways has served me. Like a lot of things in life, some of the things that serve us at first then become kind of crippling, right? So this performance idea was something that I think defined the culture of our family. We were all pretending. I was pretending to be perfect. They were pretending around this secret they were holding. It's funny because you asked me during the break, are you really closer to your parents now? And one of the first things I thought when my parents told me was, up until this moment, every time that I have said I love you to my dad, it's been on the condition of this lie. Like there must have been some part of him that thought she loves me because she thinks I am her father. And maybe if she finds out the truth, maybe she won't love us. And so when my parents told me, I got to say to them, now you get to feel what it feels like to be loved unconditionally because you've told me the truth and I'm not going anywhere. I still belong to you. You still belong to me. We can walk in this truth together and love each other more. And it is like revelatory. It's revelatory.
Well, and Carrie, you were really open and vulnerable in the book about dealing with body image issues to the point where you struggled with an eating disorder. How did you get through that, and how much do you still work through that today?
Yeah, I mean, I talk about in the book, my eating disorder, I know, it's the first thing that really got me on my knees praying for help. It was like the beginning in many ways of my spiritual journey because I was like, I cannot fix this by myself. I'm going to need help. And that was an important time in my life where I went into therapy for the first time. I started really looking to a source greater than just myself and realizing like self-reliance is not the goal, that we heal in community and we heal in truth. That I think in some ways was the beginning of my journey of realizing how much I wanted and needed more truth in my life. I didn't want to keep this disorder from people. I was never going to heal if I did.
Well, and below the healing is the indication that that was a siren going off, that something was wrong.
Help me!
But in
the secret.
In the book you write about a lot of private things. One of them was about having an abortion. Why was that important for you to include?
It's interesting because in the first draft of the book, I actually didn't have my abortion story, but I talked later in the book about how a lot of times we have our reproductive lives cloaked in secrecy. We don't talk about our abortions or our miscarriages or adoption or infertility. We have a lot of shame around it. And for me, a lot of writing the book was to give myself and my family the opportunity to shake off our shame. And so I wanted to tell the story because I felt like it's not, having an abortion doesn't make me a bad person. The right to have an abortion is an important right. It's part of my agency as a woman. It's fine if you don't agree with abortion. It's fine if you don't think you want to have one, but you don't get to tell me what to do with my body and make the choices that are right for me. So I felt like it was important to talk about that story. Also, the story around my abortion is a lot about around my loss of privacy, and that's what the right to privacy has used to afford us, is this right to be able to make decisions about our bodies and our families, to be able to decide when we want to have our families. So that's, I think, really, you know, in the beginning of the book I say that for me, writing the book is really writing about how I've learned to be in truth and in love with my parents in such a new way, but also because I just don't want us to have to hide anymore.
Can I ask you, did you put that part in about the abortion before or after the Hobbs decision?
After Hobbs.
So that was,
did
that propel you to do it?
A little bit. I mean, I guess I had sort of said this thing at the end of the book about, like, you know, I've never talked about my abortion or my miscarriage, and my editor was like, you got to give us a little more context. And I was like, I don't know. And I realized that actually I had written the abortion story much earlier and decided not to put it in. So I went back and found it and put it in. And I do think this idea of, like, abortion being criminalized and judged it's just not okay. It's not okay for women or for doctors to be criminalized around health care, and abortion is health care. So I think part of why I put it in was to stand in my truth and to not hold shame around it. Yep. And part of it was because I thought if I do that, maybe it will help other people let go of their shame and understand that this is something that happens a lot. It's okay to talk about, it's okay to protect.
Yeah. We're running out of time, but I do want to ask you this. What are you hoping that people will take away from your story, from your book?
I guess I feel like, this has not been an easy journey for my family. And one of the things my dad said earlier on when he was resistant to the idea of me writing the book was, it's going to be very bad for your brand. And I was like, what do you mean, my brand? And he said, you have this public persona, and we have this image of a perfect family. And then I watched, in the first week that the book came out, I watched my dad getting standing ovations and sold-out audiences, and his picture in People magazine, and having the biggest laugh on the Robin Roberts special that came out.
He was a bartender.
Yes, and Andy on Watch What Happens Live, he was amazing. So my husband said to him, hey, Pops, how's your brand doing?
See?
He said, my brand is on fire.
How we feel.
And part of what I love about that is that we are learning as a family that not only can we do hard things, but that standing in our truth is celebratory.
There
That
you
people
go.
will love us
That's what I
more
plan
in our
to
vulnerability.
continue to do.
All of us. That doesn't mean
Every
everybody
day.
has to write a book, but I say that to say,
Just
find
be
your
authentic
space where you can be
in
your
who
true
I am.
self, because everybody deserves that. Everybody deserves to be able to walk in truth, to not hold on to
There's
your
nothing
shame,
like
to know that you deserve
the
to be loved
feeling
unconditionally, no matter
and the
who you are or
energy
what you've
all
done or what
wrapped
you've
up.
been through. You are deserving of that love.
And
So
living
that's what I
in your
hope
own
that
truth.
people take away from the book.
Amazing. Well done.
We love when you come.
I love being here.
Come spend an entire show with us.
Okay.
I think you'll have a good time.
I will.
Our thanks to Kerry Washington. The new book, Thicker Than Water, it's out right now. You can get it on Audible as well if you want to hear Kerry reading it. It's quite something, this book. We'll be right back.